We interviewed a company that holds the biggest undeveloped gold deposit in Europe. Black Dragon Gold is waiting for the environmental permit that have been pursued before for other companies without success. What they are doing differently? How is the biggest underdeveloped gold deposit in Europe? We explain it in the following interview. Bienvenidos amantes del subsuelo, bienvenidos a Charlando de Minas, el podcast en español para aprender e invertir en el mundo de los recursos naturales. Welcome to a very special episode of Charlando de Minas, the Spanish podcast dedicated to mining investment. Let me start again. Welcome to a very special episode of Charlando de Minas, the Spanish podcast dedicated to the mining investment. Today in English. For our Spanish listeners, don't worry, we'll have this interview as well in Spanish, and you will have access to all the information in the language of Cervantes. But today we have the pleasure to interview Gabriel Chiappini, CEO of Black Dragon Gold Corp. Black Dragon Gold Corp is an Australian gold explorer with the European's largest undeveloped gold deposit, which is based in Spain, in Salave, and recently acquired exploration projects in Western Australia. The company is public traded in the ASX as BDG. Gabriel, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for following Black Dragon Gold, and I don't understand Spanish very well, but is un placer.
Yeah, really, really good. Thank you for making that. And thank you for making the time to be here today. What I will ask you first is if you could please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your experience and background for the people that don't know you.
No. Thank you, Amadeu. My background is I am a finance and a business in exploration. I generally invest in companies that have a opportunity to expand. One of which is Black Dragon Gold. I've recently been made the Chief Executive Officer in the last 15 months. Black Dragon Gold has an amazing asset, Salave Gold. Prior to joining Black Dragon Gold, I've been involved with many startup companies, of which some have gone on to be over $1 billion in valuation.
Wow.
And these include a biotechnology company called Avita Medical. This includes another company which is Adriatic Metals also on the Australian Stock Exchange, and other Adriatic Metals is started like Black Dragon Gold and Salave, which was a exploration prospect in Bosnia. It's about to start mining. So my background is really to look at opportunities where the market and the investors don't really understand the opportunities, and then to invest personally. So I have personally invested in all the companies that I've been either a officer or a director or the chief executive officer. I will continue to invest in the companies I'm associated with, including Black Dragon Gold. I'm very confident of
Great.
the program we have here.
Great. Now, I'm very happy to hear that you are as well in the board or you are investing directly in Adriatic Metals. We had Adriatic Metals on the program, and it's one of the probably best, very well mining stocks in Spain. And everyone knows about this. And then to have this experience on board, obviously, in another mining project, I think that it's very mindful. What I will ask you now, Gabriel, is you could briefly describe what is the Black Dragon Gold main objective of the company.
No, this is the same for any company, Amadeo. For any company, the main objective is to return a profit and return an investment opportunity to the investors. So I will give you more detail in a minute, but the main objective for us is really to have Black Dragon Gold's valuation as high as possible. So that also is dependent upon your program. So Specifically for Black Dragon Gold, Salave Gold is the main opportunity for current investors. Salave Gold has been around for 2,000 years. It was first discovered, or the last production in Salave Gold was by the Romans over 2,000 years ago.
Imagine.
It is amazing. My and the board of Black Dragon Gold, our objective is to develop Salave Gold for Tapia, where our project is. Tapia de Casarego is where our project is located. So our main objective is to unlock the value, and to unlock the value, we need to comply with, like any other country, comply with the local regulation and the local compliance. We are currently at the final stages of having our environmental impact assessment reviewed and assessed by the Asturian government, the Principality of
Mhm.
Asturias, which is the region where we operate. So, an environmental permit has been with the Department of Environment for a period of time, and we await their adjudication. So, for an investor coming into Black Dragon, our the only way to buy into Black Dragon and Salave Gold is through the Australian Stock Exchange. And I know,
Yep.
for investors in Europe, it's sometimes a little bit far away. But let me reassure every investor, and I know you have a lot of sophisticated investors, but those who aren't familiar with the Australian Stock Exchange, is that it's a very well regulated market with very strong compliance and very strong rules, and the ability for junior high risk companies like Black Dragon, because until we have a permit, we will
Mhm.
remain a high risk junior resources company. So, getting back to your question, what is it we are trying to achieve? We are Our objective is to develop Salave Gold and to get Salave Gold into production. And I know there are other questions you want me to ask
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
relation to why, but we have a strong conviction that we are not far away from having our environmental permit reviewed and hopefully approved.
Okay. We'll go through all of these permit details and what is the strategy of the company and everything that goes. Um, just replying what you said just earlier about being on the Australian exchange. I mean, here in Europe we have many brokers that you are allowed to work with Australian stocks. Means there is no problem. The main issue is just time wise, I will say, no, that you need to wake up very early or go late to sleep in order to be able to be in that time frame. But apart from
Yeah,
that, I mean, there is everyone that is interested in invest here. I mean, you have many brokers or the main brokers for investing in other mining areas. Let's say Canada. You should be able to invest as well in Australia. Uh,
of course.
Going to the project itself before just going to permit, no, and now I have been following Black Dragon for a while, and when I was looking to the presentation, no, the Salave and how this deposit can offer and what can offer in return, I was just checking the 2019 PA. That you will agree with me that probably just do everything that happened from this 4 years ago, it's probably out of date, okay, but we can extract very useful information from our audience that and people that doesn't know exactly the economics of the project. In the 2019 PA, the base case was made with a $1,250 gold, which now we are over 2000. I mean, it's a very big difference. And therefore, everyone should understand that the numbers that when they will be obeyed, that the economics should be much better. What I found is that with this base case, you have over 1.5 million ounces of gold with a cut-off grade of 2 grams per ton. And the average grade, it's over 4 grams per ton. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
just amazing. If you
yeah,
have the cutoff grade of 2 grams per ton, you then have over 2 million of ounces in deposit, and the average grade is over 2.5 or 2.6 grams per ton. I mean, this is just amazing, right? And
yeah.
it's completely outdated.
No, I look. I'll bring you back to why would someone like me invest in Black Dragon? So when I look at investment opportunities, for junior resource companies who want to get into production, the first thing I look at is the asset or the geology.
Mm,
So there are there are a lot of companies who would have people promoting and speculating and being very articulate and very sophisticated in telling a story. But if your sophisticated story is not matched and not married
hmm
to a asset or asset with good geology, you will fail 100%.
for sure.
So when I look at Black Dragon,
hmm
I look at the Salave Gold opportunity, and the Salave Gold opportunity and the geology at Salave,
Mm,
as you would say, is amazing and has the potential to be even bigger, because we know that the mineralization um, is not just surrounded and not just limited by the current resource. We know there's the opportunity to expand the resource, but let's not worry about expanding the resource. As you said,
no.
the current mineral estimate that we went into our study in 2019 has
hmm
a cutoff grade of 2 grams a ton, which gives us 1.56 million ounces of gold, most of which is measured and indicated. So the
hmm
classification and the quality is much higher than the inferred status.
mm,
Um, we honestly believe there is 4 million ounces of gold around Salave,
mm.
but obviously we cannot be promoting that number until we have explored
Of
um,
course.
additional. So the study in 2019 is 100% outdated.
Mm,
So we get asked, Gabriel, why don't you update your study? But if we update our study and spend, say, $500,000 on consultants and engineers and other, economic experts to provide a new updated feasibility study or
yeah,
PEA, it won't do anything to our share price. Our share price will stay the same. The
of
only
course.
thing right at the moment, the only thing right at the moment that will make Black Dragon Gold move from a speculative junior company to a high valuation is our permit. Without our environmental permit, we will remain a small junior company.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I completely agree. I don't think that this is now the time for to update your PA or to even go to something more accurate until the permits are not allowed. But what it's true is that make you think what the deposit could be
Yeah,
even without further exploration. No, if you
yeah,
continue seeing the economic numbers, internal return after tax. Remember, with this $1,200 goal, it's a
an
25%.
ounce. Yeah, yeah,
Payback period less than 4 years. Life of the mine over 14 years. I think that when if the permits are allowed and you got those and you upgrade this, I mean, just knowing that the base case is like over $1,000 gold
yeah,
below,
yeah,
this
yeah.
just makes things very easy, and you have a blue sky over.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so because we're on the stock exchange,
Mm-hmm.
and because we're regulated, I cannot talk to what our net present value and what our life of mine and what our internal return will look like
Mm-hmm.
until we
Of
update our
course.
model. So when we up yeah, I agree with you, Amadeo. When we update our model and let's be conservative. Let's not use $2,000 US dollars an ounce, but
Uh-huh.
maybe we use $1,800 an ounce.
Yeah.
Even that would represent a 50% increase in the economics. And even in the last 4 or 5 years, the technologies have changed, and I am I believe our recoveries will be higher than what our scoping study from 2019 has indicated. So I do believe that the geology, and getting back to, why would you invest in junior companies? I always look at the asset. The asset has to be real. The asset has to have strong economic foundations. And our scoping study and our PEA from 2019, as you say, provides a very strong base case. The next case,
Mm-hmm.
which once we have our environmental permit, once we get our environmental permit, we'll move straight into the next phase and have a bankable feasibility study done for our bankers to raise the
Mm-hmm.
money to develop Salave, and that will be done at much better economics.
Um, Maybe at that point, even if, of course, you need to update and everything, I would like you to explain a little bit to the audience how you envisage this project. It will be partially open pit, it will be fully underground. How do you think that will be the metallurgy for this project?
Yeah, no, good question. Thank you, thank you. No, the project under our environmental application,
Hmm.
the requirements for the development Salave Gold would we would require to be underground. So all our PEA scoping study was done on the basis that this would be 100% underground mining. Obviously, the costs are more expensive, but to do business and to comply and have a social license in countries like Spain or countries like France or
Yeah.
even countries like Germany, you need to comply with local requirements. So we have no problem underground. So this project, Salave Gold, will be 100% underground.
Underground.
The plant and equipment will be in a factory enclosure, so that the visual and the noise will be contained within a enclosed area. The processing is very simple as well. So I know we want to get into metallurgy, but we won't be pouring gold bars at Salave.
Hmm.
We will be exporting a concentrate that would have, recover around 96 to 97%. Our model says
Good.
95%, but I think our recoveries will be better than that. But
Hmm.
we will be exporting from either a Villers or Guion, but we'll be exporting from one of those deep sea ports to
Hmm.
a refiner, because the deposit at Salave Gold is high in arsenic. So
Okay.
for us to be, and that's no problem. We don't have a problem with high arsenic, because arsenic and gold go very well together. So for us, it's a benefit that in our model, when we process the underground ore from Salave Gold, it's a very simple metallurgical recovery. It's crushing,
Hmm.
it's milling, it's then a gravity flotation circuit, and then we concentrate the product. And by the time it goes through our plant and our process, we will produce a concentrate that goes off and gets exported, which will have around 65 grams of gold per ton. We hope to achieve better when we actually get there, but yeah,
But then if it has a large concentration of arsenic, then you need to
yeah,
ship it to a specific place that they have everything ready for this kind of concentrate,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
yeah.
where are you shipping or what is your plan to ship the concentrate?
So there are. I mean, the geology is like it's a refractory gold
Uh-huh.
deposit which has high arsenic. So it's
Uh-huh.
not. This is very common. It's not unusual.
Okay.
So there are a number of places around the world, including Norway, including I mean, China is the obvious producer of refractory gold globally. But we have Norway, we have China, we have Namibia, we have
No, I was
Finland.
just thinking about, like scope 3 of the carbon footprint, like if you need to ship the gold to the other side of the wall, and then, it might become things complicated now that all of these things are taken into account, to get investors and everything.
Yeah,
Then if you have a plan in Norway, I mean, it's in some Europe, then everything should be okay.
the 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 I guess if we refer to the critical minerals document that the European Union produced, arsenic is a
Mhm.
critical mineral.
Okay.
So arsenic becomes part of the European Union critical minerals. So we don't think it will become a problem whether it gets exported into Europe or exported, into
I,
South
I
America,
I actually
Africa,
had
or
a
Asia.
question about this because, for example, in the case of Adriatic, no, you they have zinc, you have copper, you have uh, a lot of those metals that are inside of a critical raw material act, and then metals that are used in the electrification and transition
Battery
and everything.
and
That,
batteries. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
then everything. It's fine, no? Or the European Union, they like to have this because it have control. Because I mean, we are very low on those, but obviously in Salave you have gold, and gold, like they keep the wealth, but they are not a metal for batteries or any of these things. But now that you said that arsenic is a critical raw material, then you always can apply the other way around, no? That you are making uh,
Sure, sure.
the arsenic and you are
It's
getting gold
I
as a
know.
byproduct.
I, I know, I know. I don't want to speculate on
No,
that
yeah,
process,
yeah.
but my no, no, my response to gold not being a critical mineral
Uh-huh.
is I agree. It's not on the list of the critical minerals, but do you know what? It is a strategic mineral,
Yeah, it
and
is true.
strategically, every economy that has either expanded or every economy globally that has been a global power always has a lot of gold in the central bank. And in the last, I guess, 2 to 3 years,
Hmm.
all of the major central banks around the world have been buying gold. So
Yeah, a
and
lot of
I'm not a
gold. A lot of
geopolitical
gold.
expert. I'm not a political expert globally, but
See that we
with
miss you,
the increase in
Gabriel. I don't know if you
volatility
can
and
hear
the
us.
with the rise of China, and the rise of the tiger economies and
No,
the
we
economies
don't
that
have you.
are wanting to go from third world, second world to first world, if they want a strong currency, their central bank and the reserve bank will always have a lot of gold. In the last 18 months, we have seen record numbers of
Hello,
central
Gabriel.
bank buying gold bullion. And I think this trend will continue while there's inflation, while there's the war in the Ukraine, while there's Africa that is looking for development funding, and while China wants to challenge the United States of America as a superpower. So while all this is going on in the background, I believe that gold will become even more
Gabriel?
strategic. So, what I say to our local team here in Spain, and what I say to people who want to listen, is that Salave Gold will become a strategic asset to Spain. And I ideally hope that it will become a strategic asset
You are waiting for a while for the environmental assessment. We can understand that maybe have been some delays due to the elections. Now it can be even further delays because there is a general election just around the corner. I am guessing that many people have tell you that Spain is a tough country for mining, especially in the north. What are your thoughts about the outcome of the environmental assessment?
Yeah, I mean, the our investors have invested in Black Dragon in order to develop the project, and one of the gates that we have to pass is environmental permits. So, from our
Mm.
perspective, we don't think that the Spanish authorities in Asturias has taken too long. We will oblige and we will comply with their requirements. Our environmental permit was lodged in 2021. We went through a very thorough public consultation period for 5 or 6 months, and we
Mm.
replied to all of the public questions, and the public consultation dossier was submitted back to the Department of Environment last year, and
Mm.
now we believe we are not far away from having some feedback from the Department of Environment in Asturias. And for any project, any mining project around the world, you must ensure you have a few things right. One, you need to ensure you have a social license. You need to ensure that the local community is behind your project. It may not be 100%, but you need to ensure that you comply with all the rules, all the regulations. But over and above the rules and regulations, you need to invest in the local community. And for us, nothing would be more give me more gratitude than to develop Salave Gold and have the Tapia community be part of the success. So doing business in northern Spain is no different to doing business in southern Australia or western United States or southern Canada. You have rules and regulations. And look, I've done work in Zimbabwe, in Africa. I've done work in Tanzania, in Africa. I've done work in Nevada, in the United States of America. We've done work in Argentina, and these jurisdictions are all different. But what
Yeah.
is clear in every case is you need to comply with the regulations, and you need to have the community
Mhm.
behind you. So, from our perspective,
Yeah.
Amadeo, we believe that we will continue to provide the answers to the Department of Environment when they ask questions,
Mhm.
and we will engage locally. And I think the difficulty is to ensure that the community understands the project.
Exactly, exactly. We'll talk a little bit later about the community. I read that over the last 20 years, probably, different companies have been trying to move forward this deposit. Why? What you made different this time to allow the success?
Yeah, good question. You are right. Previously, the last two owners of Salave Gold have tried to get their environmental permit approved and was unsuccessful. So, what we have done differently is to listen. And I'm not saying the previous owners didn't listen, but what is clear is that the previous applications, one had an open pit project,
Uh-huh.
and having an open pit in northern Spain, in an environment where you want to encourage tourism and agriculture, having an open pit project is no problem, but is visually it does not look very pretty.
Yes.
Secondly, the previous owners, Asta Gold, previously had the last environmental permit. Their water management plan had the
Hmm.
treated and clean, but treated water from the project and from the from the mine going into the rivers of around our project. And so what we've tried to do is contain and to manage the water treatment so that the water is treated from an engineering point of view. And when
Mm-hmm.
we say the water, it's not the water that is used in processing the gold, because that's in a closed circuit, in a closed,
Mm-hmm.
process. It's the water that we, as we go underground, it's the water in the ground that we need to manage, because as you
Okay.
imagine, as you go down into the earth, our project is designed to go down to about 450 meters in depth at the moment. You
Mm-hmm.
must imagine that there's thousands of kiloliters of and thousands of liters of water. So that water we need to manage, and we are managing that by having a pipeline that goes out into the ocean, and it's clean, it's monitored. There's a number of monitoring stations that the Department of Environment and the local community will be able to see online.
Okay. There is any other thing that you would like to highlight from your project in terms of environmental assessment?
No, look, environmental accreditation is important.
Yeah.
We've been patient, and we're happy to be patient. We're happy to, not complain, because people who complain often, you know, you need to have a good reason to complain. So we're investors in Spain, and we will invest in good projects like Salave Gold. You asked me the question,
Mhm.
what have we done different? And I think the two main things we've done different is that we've gone underground, so that visually there is no open pit, and secondly, the water
Mhm.
management plan has the water being treated cleanly and without any contamination. There's no contamination in our process, but the water is not being discharged into the rivers, which I can
Perfect.
understand why locals will have a problem with that.
Perfect. Understood. Not sure if you know, but Adrian Godas, it's a mining investor, has bet against this permit with Paul Cronin. I think that there is some money or some dinner or some lunch in play. Then are you confident that Cronin will win this bet then?
Okay, good. You caught me by surprise here. I was not aware of this. I was not aware of this gamble or this bet. Okay, let me think. So Paul Cronin, I know through Adriatic
Yeah.
Metals. Adrian got
Yeah.
us. I know
Yes.
only because of his online sort of posts. So
Yeah.
I don't know Adrian Godas, and I would love to meet him. So, from my
Yeah.
perspective, I will back Paul Cronin, because
Perfect.
has Paul Cronin has been Paul Cronin has been able to develop Rupice in Bosnia in 5 years.
Uh-huh.
So, look, I will also have a bet with Adrian Godas if I get to meet Adrian, and I hope to meet him while I'm
Uh-huh.
in Spain. I'm in Spain for another 3 days. I will have
Well,
also.
this
I
not
will
this will not be online for 3 days, but sure that you guys can find a time to meet.
I will also have a bet with Adrian on having the environmental plan approved in a certain time period. I look, we can speculate about timing. I think the
Yes.
timing's not important. The important part is that we have done everything
Okay.
in within our control to have that our plan lodged and the questions answered, and to be available to the community.
Perfect. Now let's put two scenarios, okay? Best case scenario and worst case scenario. Now you have your permit. What are the next steps? Do you have a calendar with milestones for Salave?
Yeah, look, it's a good question, and from plan A would be go straight into engineering and design activities, and it's what the I guess English community would call it, is feed, which stands for
Hmm.
front end engineering and design. So we would go straight into a design phase to get the Salave Gold plant and the Salave Gold mine into a position where we can start to look at acquiring the plant and equipment for our
Hmm.
construction. Whilst we're doing the feed or the front end engineering and design work, We will then also commission what we would call our final feasibility study. And I know feasibility study has different meaning in Spain, but from our perspective, the feasibility study is not the feasibility of the mine, but the economic model.
Uh-huh.
And the
Okay.
feasibility
And
study.
and
Sorry.
let's say you have the permit in 2 months. Let's say,
Ah, yeah, yeah.
uh, when will be taking account that in 2 months you have this permit? When will be this feasibility study done?
Okay, good question. So well, if we have the permit in 2 months, I'll be celebrating, right? And I don't
Yeah.
mean to be, I don't mean to be sort of like pessimistic, but
Yeah.
I think that would be a very good result. We would commence. So we've commenced discussions with some feasibility consultants, and we would appoint. Ideally, we'd like to appoint a feasibility engineer in the next 6 to 8 weeks, and it takes a little bit of time to get the consultants on board. But we would be commencing if we get the permit in 2 months, which would take us to August. We would commence the feasibility study, I would say, in September slash October. Now, to a proper, there are companies who do feasibility studies for speculation. To do a proper
Mm.
feasibility study would take, I'd say, 9 months. So we would
Perfect. Perfect.
be, we would,
It's
yeah,
just like a year from now, let's say, or a
from
year
today,
from having the permit.
from
Yeah.
today, yeah.
Um, and do you have money for that?
No, no, we don't have money for that because we're a junior,
Okay.
we're a junior company. So fiscal
No, no, but it's
responsibility.
true that once you have the permit, I mean the value of the company, I mean it changed from night to day. I mean you have,
Yeah,
to be
yeah,
honest, you have nothing now, let's say, or
yeah.
nothing that you can mine. Once you have the permit, there is another story. And now let's put the worst case scenario, and let's say that the permit is not approved. What are the next steps? Can you appeal,
Well, it really depends
or
on
it's
the
a game over?
no, yeah, it really depends on the feedback we get. So, if the scenario is that we have to wait and there's more questions, then we wait. We will be
Hmm.
patient, and we will, because the Salave Gold project is worth waiting for, right? So
Of course.
we have no problem being patient. We have no problem waiting. But what we want to understand is how long and what are the reasons. So we would respectfully ask for feedback. If the answer is negative and if the environmental permit is rejected outright, then we would need to understand the reasons behind why the environmental permit was rejected. And I can't speculate on what we would do, but we would reserve our right to sit down with the Department of Environment and to understand
Okay.
why it was rejected. Look, the mining concession we have goes for
Hmm.
a long period of time. So, our mining
Okay.
concession doesn't expire until 2045 in
Hmm.
the project where Salava is. So we have lots of time to understand and be patient. But I'd
No,
be
I think that
very.
the main question for investors, no, is this is a game over, and you just said that no, that you will sit down, you will skill evaluate, and obviously it depends on the feedback, but
It's not.
the Salave, it's a deposit worth it to still
Yeah.
make an effort and continue fighting for it.
Yeah, I mean, look, Amadeo, to be honest with you and your listeners, the market would not like a negative response.
Of course.
Um, and the valuation of Black Dragon would suffer. But we still have a mining project that has a mining license. We have a mining
Mm.
license. We don't have an environmental license. That mining license is worth something because there's been 70 million euros of money spent on exploration, and we have over 60,000 meters of drilling available for exploitation. So Salave, it's the game is not over. We will fight, and we will look at various ways. And I take you back to my opening your opening question and my opening remark,
Mhm.
why am I here? I am here to make money for my investors. So
Perfect.
we will review the situation, and we may make decisions which is with Salave Gold or not with Salave Gold, but I can't decide and I can't
Of
speculate on
course.
that until we have feedback.
You also made some acquisitions in Western Australia,
Yeah,
and I
yeah, yeah.
know that it's very early, and you have a bunch of different acquisitions. Uh, just give me a very brief overview, because I know that the main thing here is Salave, but why do you acquire these projects, and uh, what is the intention behind, or what are you looking there?
No, every company has to have more than one asset. So, 12 months ago, our only asset was Salave Gold. So we need to diversify, and diversification is a normal economic model. So you don't have
Mm-hmm.
all your eggs, you don't have all your eggs in the one
In one
basket.
basket.
So
Mm-hmm.
I guess even before I became chief executive officer, I would say that the previous board was always looking to have new ventures. And given I live in Western Australia, I work in Western Australia. Western Australia has lots of mining opportunities. This
Mm-hmm.
opportunity was presented to me, and we haven't spent a lot of money. The acquisition was less than 100,000 Australian dollars, but it's in an area that has enormous exploration potential. And recently, we did a what I'd call a reconnaissance drilling program to
Mm-hmm.
put the very first drill holes into this area. And what we saw in the initial results. So we have to wait in Australia. All the laboratories for assaying for gold and metals is busy, so we have to wait, I say, until the end of August to receive the assay results. But what our geologists saw in the initial chip tray samples was lots of sericite, lots of alterations, lots of sulfide. And for us, that's very encouraging. So the strategy here is to have uh, Salave Gold is our focus, 100%. However,
Flagship.
in order for a company to have a life beyond and a second asset, you always have to have a second project in your portfolio. So this project is an early stage and it was opportunistic. It did not cost a lot of money. So, but we think
Perfect.
what we saw in the initial results is very encouraging.
Okay, let's talk now about the community. There is a strong opposition of an environmentalist group called Oro No, which means gold no. Why they are against the Salave mine, and what are the arguments?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think with any development, whether it's a property development, whether it's a new marina or a new industrial complex, you're going to have people in favor. You're going to have people against. It's normal. If I want to put a new second story on my house, I'm going to have two neighbors who are going to say no, but I might have four neighbors who don't care. So
Mhm.
the Aura No movement, I respect their views. I respect their democratic right to oppose it. We don't have anything personal against Aura No. So for our
Mhm.
point, from Black Dragon's point of view, we just need to ensure that we remain with the facts and talk to the community about the benefits. So, or a no, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they've done a very good job at explaining their position. From from
Exactly.
a, from a Black Dragon Gold point of view, we don't want to argue with Orono. Our job is to develop Salave Gold, and from our perspective, we want to listen to the community, listen to the politicians, and listen to people who live in Tapia. And maybe some of the Orono opposition may not be locals, but then we don't want to speculate. But all I know, Amadeo, is that this election that happened in May has resulted in a change in the balance of power in Tapia, and the PP party, the Conservative Party, has a dominant position, which I think
Mm.
may or may not be good for Salave. But the previous mayor of Tapia was not a supporter of Salave Gold, and she was very strong in her opposition. I
Mhm.
respect her position. She's able to have her right to argue against it, but we look forward to working with Tapia. We look forward to working with the Tapia Council to progress Salave, and we would very much welcome a new start and hopefully a new position where we can sit down and discuss the benefits that Salave will bring to the community of Tapia.
Mm. That I have been looking a little bit online, and there are two main concerns for this group. One is environmental damage, that I think that we have discussed it a lot about the permits and how you will do everything. Then I think that this is already applying this interview. But the other is that they say that the mine will not bring the prosperity and the money that you guys said. Then just to for the rest of the community, that will listen to this, can you put some numbers, even if they are general numbers, or you take in account another mines, let's say, how many wealth could bring a mine like in this project of Salave to the community?
Yeah, no, good
Let's
question.
say
And
jobs or
yeah,
direct and direct.
well, I think most communities are looking for more than just jobs. I mean, jobs. I think people in Tapia and people around Tapia have plenty of job opportunities. So I think mining companies and Black Dragon needs to provide more than jobs. So the normal model and economic model says that for every $1 you invest in a mining project, it's
Hmm.
recirculated or multiplied at least between 3 to 6 times, depending on which country you work in. So our initial investment will be over 100 million euros. So you think if that is then recirculated 5 times, that's 500 million euros that gets reinvested in Asturias, Tapia, and the Spanish economy. Beyond the initial
Perfect.
investment, obviously we have um, the jobs that we would support, and we would have up to 200 direct jobs at Asturias at the Tapia um, Salave
Hmm.
Gold Project. In addition to that, we would then obviously be paying taxes into the local economy. But beyond jobs and taxes, we also want to invest directly into the community. And I think what we need to do is sit down with the new Tapia administration and listen to what they would like and how they would like Salave Gold and Black Dragon to invest in the local community, because until now we've not had an opportunity to sit down with the Tapia Council.
Perfect. And just for finishing out, let's talk a little bit about the team that is behind Black Dragon. We
Yeah.
know you. We know that there is Paul Cronin as well there. Uh, what else is on the team, and what are their roles?
Okay, I like to be honest, and I know that people laugh when someone says I want to be honest, but I want to be honest with you and your listeners on your podcast, because we don't have a big team, because at the moment we don't need a big team because we're waiting for a
Of course.
permitting program. But what we have is quality. We have quality people in our organization. So there's Paul Cronin, who has worked in the mining industry for a number of years and is developing Adriatic metals. We have Alberto Lavandera. Alberto Lavandera is the Chief Executive Officer of Atalaya Mining.
Hmm.
They run the Rio Tinto copper project in Huelva, in the southwest of Spain. He's the Atalaya Mining is listed on the London Stock Exchange and has a valuation approaching 1 billion US dollars. Um,
Hmm.
as a general manager, director of general manager here in Spain for our local subsidiary, we have Jose Manuel Dominguez, who is a mining engineer and has worked on global projects. So, amongst us, we have a very strong background to A, develop projects, but B, return value to our shareholders. And the two are together. So, we have a strong focus to develop our assets, but also we don't develop our assets just because we need a trophy. We want to develop our assets in order to return a value to our shareholders. So we don't have a big team, Amadeo, but we have a strong, high quality team. And right now, I can't look you in the eyes and say we are able to recruit 400 people because we have to do that. But I have a strong conviction once we have an environmental permit that we would be able to attract a team to develop Salave Gold, and not only a team, but you also have money. We need to find and fund 100 million euros to invest into the construction, and we'll find it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Gabriel, for your time. I mean, for me, it was a pleasure to have finally Black Dragon Gold into the program. We have been speaking for a while now, trying to arrange this, and finally happened. Then I'm really happy with that. I hope to see great things over the next months. I hope that see the outcome of the permit and see how you manage the new era for the company. And I hope that when this happens, you guys come back to a program and you can explain a little bit how things go. If you want, just the last minutes to talk directly to the audience.
Yeah, of course. All I say to your listeners is have a look at Black Dragon Gold as an opportunity to take a risk in a company that has an amazing project called Salave Gold, because once we have the environmental permit, you are too late because the valuation of Black Dragon Gold will go up 10 times. I look at all other case studies that once you have your permit, you don't get into development phase. So right now is the perfect opportunity to take a risk to buy some shares in Black Dragon Gold right now.
Thank you very much, Gabriel.
Un placer. A la próxima.
Disclaimer. Any content that appears in Charlando de Minas is not an investing advice. Amadeu Bonet and any of the guests are non-investor advisors. We might have interest in the companies mentioned in this publication. Always assume that the speakers are biased. These episodes are just the journey of my learning in the natural resource investment. Soy Amadeu Bonet, bienvenido a Charlando de Minas.